Dear younger brother, it's me, Max. I'm writing this letter because I want to explain why I'm moving from my house to somewhere else. Anywhere else, honestly. I know that you must be upset that I'm not answering your calls or trying to speak with you in person, but read this and I promise you'll understand. You may not believe this, but I swear on our parents' names that nothing written here is fake. With that said, this is a story of 3 days ago, of when I made the biggest mistake of my life. As I write this, I'm on a plane to who knows where, and who knows whether or not it will find me. Let's begin. My day started out incredibly boring, to be honest. I'd eaten breakfast, put on new clothes, and was about to go into a virtual meeting with my boss. As I went into my room and was about to open up my computer, I heard rapping at my door. Not somebody rapping, of course. I mean somebody knocking. You never were good at knowing the meaning of words, brother. Anyways, I immediately went to my phone to access my security cameras and saw a medium-sized box lying on the stairs. My cameras record any movement they detect for a couple seconds, as you already know. So I went into the history of what they recorded and clicked on the most recent one. On my phone, I could see a black figure dressed in an oversized dark brown coat and wearing a big backpack walking up to my door. They slid their backpack off their shoulder, looked both ways, and took something out of their backpack, presumably the package. I couldn't tell what they did after that, because when they opened their backpack, the camera feed suddenly got blurry and a little glitchy. By the time the camera went back to normal, the person was gone, as though they'd vanished into thin air. I should have thought the whole thing was strange, but I guess the meeting was the main focus of my thoughts at the time. Remember what happened with me and that pizza last year? It was like that. I sped to the door and looked through the peephole, seeing nothing but the box, and opened up the door. The box looked like it had been handled a little rough, but I didn't care much because I had no idea what was inside in the first place. I don't buy many things, but you already knew that I'm a bit of a minimalist. I figured that you or Mom had bought something for me. As though I was in a rush, I tried to pick up the box and almost fell forward when my hands realized the full weight of the box. It was insanely heavier than it looked. I remember mumbling under my breath, "Geez, did they manage to fit a whole couch in this box?" Slowly this time, I picked up the box and heaved it onto the kitchen table. Annoyed, I huffed that whatever's in the box had better be worth it and ripped it open with my bare hands. Okay, I admit, some scissors helped a little too. Then I reached my hand in and pulled out a small piece of paper. It said, in poor handwriting, that what was in the box was now mine. And when I flipped the paper over, I was surprised to find a weird poem written on the back. It goes a little like this. In moonlight's pale and eerie glow, where whispered legends tend to grow, there walks a being strange and wild, the creature feared by every child. Be strong or be weak, the power inside can make you complete. Taken straight from a monster, though thought to be God. Open right up and prepare for a shock. Must you never reveal your being through liquid contact. Sounds like it came from some kid or bored teenager, doesn't it? Yeah, I thought so too. After all, moments like that only really come from movies, not the real world, right? Or maybe there's something more that we just don't think about. Maybe some events in movies do hold some sort of truth. Ha, that'd be a thought. Honestly, the foreshadowing poem only made me want to check out what was in the box more than before. So I was about to reach my hand into it to check it out, when my phone suddenly rang and got my attention. I will let you know that the strangeness got stranger. My boss called me, telling me that I would be getting a promotion for my great efforts. Then $10,000 just appeared in my bank account. And the good things just never seemed to stop. Some family members sent me some gifts through the mail, and one even called saying that they had apparently found our dad. How long had it been since he'd last appeared? Good fortune just kept coming to me left and right. And for a person like me, who has an average life with more downs than ups a lot of the time, it was mega suspicious. Though it did feel really good at the same time. I went to sleep having forgotten about the box, and had the first negative thing happen to me all day. Or rather, all night. I must have been crouched behind some kind of bush or something. I don't know who I was or how I knew, but for some reason I knew I was watching someone. A few minutes passed by, and 3 people emerged from the darkness wearing colors in the pitch black night. Thinking about it, I have no idea how I could even see them. And I also have no idea how they were even able to see each other with it being so dark. But they could, and it seemed like they had something sharp in their hands. I saw them stick the thing in their arms and then wipe their hands all along the forest floor. They did all of this while chanting some language that made all the crickets, owls, and sound drain from the fort. Hearing them say the words pounded a dark energy into me, and I almost felt like passing out, but I managed to stay conscious. They eventually stopped, and when they did, one of them threw a match, I think, on the ground, and the grass burst into a controlled flame that stayed where it was and didn't spread to anything else. After chanting some more, something flew out of the fire into the ground, smoking a lot. It was faintly glowing, but the brightness that came off of it was not like a normal light. It was light, but it was also dark as well. So it was a dark light, if that makes sense. One of the people went over to it and picked it up while the other 2 stopped their chanting and seemed to be prepared to end the ritual. But then, the fire burned a dark red and black, and emerging from that fiery inferno was a beast unlike anything I'd ever seen. But if I had to compare it to an animal, it'd be a goat for sure. I couldn't see all of it, but I could tell it had a goat-like head and menacing eyes that tore through the soul. I don't know who started running first, the strange people or me, but I do know that we all started screaming around the same time. The creature most likely pursued one of us, but I woke up before I could look behind me to tell. I basically jolted awake immediately thinking of the box. I thought of the box, the out of nowhere good luck I was having, and my dream. I can't keep it, I thought to myself. It just felt like there was something bad connected to it. I went to the kitchen and found the box where I'd left it on the table. I was thinking that before I would throw the box away, I would at least see what was inside, since I'd never gotten the chance to before. So there I was, standing in front of the partly open box, reaching my hand to pull out whatever was inside. You know how shows sometimes show characters moving in slow motion? Well, the whole moment was just like that, with me reaching my hand into the box in slow motion. I should have figured something was wrong with that. I felt my hand grip something ice cold and smooth, kind of slippery too. I was trying to grip around the thing, whatever it was, when my hand suddenly felt something pointy. My hand pulled back faster than I could blink. I turned my head to look at it and saw red liquid dripping down it slowly and onto the floor. Pain shot like a bullet through my hand as I gripped my wrist with my other hand in pain. But that wasn't the worst of it. When the pain finally subsided and I looked into the box, I found there was nothing inside. Then things got crazy. Back in my room, I heard a big boom sound, like someone had taken the heaviest thing in my room and slammed it into the floor. I trusted my instincts and ran outside the house. This unknown fear coursed through my body and was forcing me to get out of my house and away from the area. I sprinted past streets I knew and didn't know without any reason why, at least not until I slowed down at last and looked behind me. Standing still and peeking from behind a big bush in front of someone's house was the creature I'd seen in my dreams. I know you might never believe me, brother, but this is all unfortunate fact. It really was a man fused with a goat, but let me try to describe it with as much detail as I can remember. The first thing I remember is that it was the biggest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. No normal person could compare to its height. It had a goat's head with soul-piercing, demonic-looking eyes, and its legs were kind of like a goat's with hooves, but I couldn't really see for sure. At times, its legs blended together to look like dark shadow, but the rest of it looked human enough. Well, as human as a monster like that can look. Its fur was a dirty gray with lots of darker areas that seemed to radiate the dark light I'd seen in my dreams. There's no way it didn't come from the underworld. I won't believe that it came from anywhere else. It scared the living daylights out of me. Just one look at it and I almost collapsed. I don't think people understand the true meaning of intimidation until they've seen what I've seen. If I had to compare it to something, I'd say it's like being a rabbit who's about to be eaten alive by a bear. Anyways, for the next 3 minutes, I had a staring contest with the monster, and we both didn't move an inch. I tried to say at least a word to it, but couldn't muster up enough courage. Still not believing what I was seeing, I blinked, and it vanished. And I could tell it wasn't gone. I turned my head around, looking 360 degrees, and spotted it hiding but closer to where I was. One blink and it disappeared again. I swung myself around and saw it once more, much closer this time, and with another uncontrollable blink, it was gone. It's messing with me, I thought to myself, but obviously this wasn't the fun kind. I dashed away from the area and felt some otherworldly force shove me to the ground, causing me to scrape at my leg pretty badly on the concrete. I ran through the pain anyways, and into a nearby foresty area. As you probably remember, it was the forest that was part of the park we used to play at a lot. I rushed through the many thin trees and hid behind one, out of breath and panting. Suddenly, my phone rang loudly, which almost made me pass out, and I answered to the sound of random voices all screaming over each other. Under the large group of voices all shouting random things, there was one similar to mine, saying something over and over and over. 3 short words.
You will pay.
I looked behind me, and the goatman's face was towering over me and looking down. It opened its mouth and let out a death-curdling scream that would have turned all my hairs white if I wasn't so focused on running. As it chased me, I looked for some person that I could yell to get help at, but strangely, I couldn't see anybody. Whether this was its doing or not, some kind of trick or something, I really don't know. To cut it short, I ended up locking myself in my room at night, holding various weapons to protect myself with, and prepared to move to someplace safe. Right now, I'm not even sure if I'll make it to see another day. And that's why I wrote you this letter. I'm hoping that this will be better than texting you because the thing was somehow able to manipulate my device and could probably do it again to figure out where I'm headed. Well, anyways, that's my story. I really do hope to see you. Pray for me, will you? With the greatest of love, your dear brother. I hope to see you soon, and I hope I won't be bringing that thing with me. That's another story done. Thanks for taking the time to listen to it, and hopefully you had a good experience. See you on the flip side.